Sorry. Well, welcome everybody to Broadcast.gg. We got some scrims tonight, and I'm LemonKiwi, joined here with lafon. Two great teams. Lafon, why don't you tell us about them?
I mean, it's going to be a very quick intro here, but we've got 0-2 coming in first. It's going to be, just a team that was still building their roster, so a brand new situation here. I mean, both these teams are actually fairly new in terms of who they brought up. Again, Open Division just finished, essentially, so a lot of teams are back in that rebuilding phase. But for the side of 0-2, they're a 4.2K team-ish or so. They prefer Dive and enjoy King of the Hill, something that we're not too, it's a bit of a new thing here in this meta as we switch towards more tank composition. So it'll be very interesting to see how they show up here on stream tonight. On the other side, though, we do have Flashpoint and Tale of Two Teams. They want to go for a more tank heavy, though they do enjoy a dive with Pharmacy as well. So they also claim Koth to be their favorite map and Assault maps as their least favorite. So both these teams have something in common. Other than that, it seems to be a very close matchup here today.
And still surprising that both teams say they love dive, with now the entry of Brigitte and this anti-dive movement going on in the meta currently. But who would your players, your players to watch between both these teams?
I mean, you always have to look. I think, especially in this meta specifically, with your hit scan DPS, so your Widowmakers, or your tanks and supports. Those guys. I mean, it sounds like I'm saying the entire role, but it is very important to see if they're playing that tank composition, how much of the tanks are going to actually be supported, whether they're in that Brigitte or if they're playing with a Zenyatta, how much is it going to be the Zen staying up and just keeping the tanks in the fight. So I would say, especially if they're running dive, it's going to be that Zen who I'm keeping an eye out for. If they're running tanks, it is going to be on the Reinhardt to take a look at these two teams. It's going to be our first map here of the night, Ilios, and it's going to be Ruins as our first stage. So this is going to be, I think, a very exciting start to this set here between these two teams.
Well, one player I do want to watch is the Widowmakers from each team. That'll be Zambian from Team 0-2 and a Moose from Flashpoint. I'm going to call him a moose because I say a deer properly, but he keeps thinking I'm saying a deer. So I'm going to call him every other animal but deer just to tilt him.
I mean, and there's so many to choose from too, everything from kiwis all the way up to the larger amphibian-like creatures, or I guess sea creatures, whales, mammalians.
A whale. Just trying to call him a whale.
Yeah. Hey, maybe he's gonna go absolutely huge tonight, and will live up to that very large calling. Though there is a quick pause here as we get our first game set up. And as is sometimes the case with scrum blocks, you have a little bit of situations here and there. We will get those resolved as quickly as possible. But I think one of the interesting things to note here, what do you kind of expect to see from these teams tonight? I know we've highlighted that compositions meta has been kind of shifting around a little bit recently. People still aren't quite sure what's right to play or what's the most efficient to play. We have seen that heavy tank composition as premiered by Goats in Contenders Trials, but what do you kind of sort of expect to see here tonight?
Well, I mean, how are people going to counter this triple tank, triple support? That seems to be what's hot right now. And what Flashpoints are currently... Oh, actually, it's quad tank from Flashpoint off the bat. So I hope you guys are not stream sniping, but I want to see how teams are countering the tank comps, whether it's with biotic grenades from Ana's, with maybe switching to triple DPS or focusing the range battles. But I think everybody is connected, lafon. What comps are we starting off with?
And it is, as you mentioned, that quad tank composition early on, so a very meaty composition to go directly to point, and it's going to be dive in the counter, so they need to find some entryway here, some early pickoffs, ideally on the scope on that Moira to just break down that healing. That's going to be that first kill right away.
First blood, and that makes it 2 for 0-2. Now focusing on the point. They still have a few tanks to get rid of, mainly just the Zarya and the Lucio, which now dwindling away. Flashpoint will lose this initial fight, and that's Dad. We're not going to say the full word on that Genji, already having 20% away from the blade after the first fight.
And I mean, this composition falls apart if it doesn't have that power spike and that healing. They can just outlast some of the damage that comes through, right? And with scope going down early, that just absolutely spelled disaster for that tank composition. They're going to stick with it right now as the hook comes in, but the deflect is there in time, and the follow-up does not follow through. So 0-2 are going to retreat slightly as they want to go with that blade right now.
There goes the blade, and he's just timing at the very back, but against tanks, he might struggle. Still gets the D-Mech onto the Diva. Now dealing with the Zarya second, only a Reinhardt left, and the Roadhog for last. Flashpoint's quad tank really starting to struggle. And it's kind of surprising, usually with a Genji and a Tracer, that's usually pretty weak against tank comps.
I think one of the things to note here is they are going to switch up their composition. Looks like they're going to be running the Brigitte comp, so it's going to be that very heavy, very quick, fast-moving Brig tank composition coming in. But one thing that's happening is the healers are getting isolated, and the tanks are not using their cooldowns to get pickoffs, and that means that they're just sitting ducks essentially. But here comes Zerlitzia on the flank, that Tracer trying to find the pulse bomb, and it will be eaten up actually by Sola. So that ultimate goes down. They're going to walk in with the Coalescence on point.
Great speed boost, Coalescence, just to get pressure on the point. They have left their Reinhardt behind, and unfortunately, Dosarino says goodbye off. Adir is also out of the party with the Brigitte. And look at this, Flashpoint have not secured a single kill, it seems, in this past fight.
I don't think they've secured a single kill in the entirety of the map so far. It's been a pretty one-sided affair. And 0-2 now with that last fight advantage. There aren't a whole lot of ultimates on the board, but definitely not really an advantageous position here for Flashpoint to be in.
Well, another blade available here for Dad, but the sound barrier will start here for Flashpoint as they move on towards the point, using that speed boost, going after the aggression, but they need to focus fire now, especially after Daddy's brought out the blade, already finding the supports of Flashpoint, and now the main tank is gone. Skola will have one last hurrah with the self-destruct. This could be big. It does secure a kill onto Dad, but unfortunately, more kills fall for Flashpoint as they step off the point, 100-0 for 0-2.
That is as efficient and clean a first round stage as you could hope to have. I don't even think Flashpoint got a single meaningful kill that entire round. They got one at the end there, but it was on the Genji, who was already having cleaned up the fight with that Dragon Blade. So Flashpoint here needs to walk back in, clean up some of the... they almost seem like they're not going in properly with their rotations, and they're kind of inefficiently going back and forth. It's a very odd affair from them, to be sure. So they don't seem to be very aggressive with that tank composition. They're not really walking into anyone. They're kind of picked off one by one and really letting 0-2 have the advantage.
I think you pointed that out perfectly in the last time of Flashpoint are losing their supports, not protecting them enough, and especially with a Roadhog and a Diva, those are your mega protectors from the tank selection you can have. But now we go on to, well, lots of environmental kills. You can see both teams, or at least one of the teams, securing in the far, and look at this, 3 kills for Dosarino. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and that's just going to be the spam out. It does, like, if the shield is not down in time, the Fire is going to find free value. And early pickoff, the damage amp with those rockets just does so much. And Skeet Cheese was not able to really bring up that Resurrect in time. Did actually go down to the Farah from afar. And so that's going to be the first fight won, basically off the back of that 2 early kills on the supports.
And also that Flashpoint using Lucio from Sage to just speed boost them into a better position at the start, and you pointed that out. 0-2 could not even have their shields up, and it's just already a first blood from Dosarino picking off Skeet Jesus. So 0-2 are gonna want to retreat, want to have their mercy. Their main source of healing is Zen. The Zenyatta is next to fall. 0-2 are now having struggles keeping their supports alive.
It's going to be 1 kill for 0-2, but it's not going to be nearly enough as the Resurrect is there in time. So this is a case, again, if you get picked off really early 1 by 1, there's a lot of space you can create for yourself as they're going to switch down to dive. Flashpoint, of course, 0-2, as they are going to turn out Valkyrie here now. Flashpoint trying to keep this fight going in their favor.
Well, it's time to go, but Dosarino is going to block the path with a barrage, gets dove from the Diva. Perfect moment. Skeet Jesus again falling early in these fights. That's so much healing out. The tanks are out for 0-2. 53%, almost a flip over. But Flashpoint have really adapted from that last map. They're just rolling over 0-2.
Yeah, this is a tale of 2 teams, essentially. What happened on the first is going to happen so far, at least on the second. And although we are only 65% through this point, it has been exactly no meaningful kills coming through from 0-2 onto Flashpoint. So they have turned around the effort in their favor, but there is still some time to go here on the second point as the Valkyrie is going to be committed here by Skeet Jesus.
Valkyrie will mean the ghost sign extra boost, and also Dad has a Dragon Blade. They need to put him in a correct position, but not if they lose their Lucio. That's already a bad start to them. You can see how 0-2 are playing so split up right now. Dad is looking for an opportunity, has the Mercy in his sights, brings out the Dragon Blade, and has secured at least that kill, going for the D-Mech next, and is lost all over the place, just like we're spectating him, as this could be possibly a flip for 0-2. They only have a few members left. They need to secure that D-Mech on to Sola, but now the kills are not falling through for 0-2, and it's 99%. This could be the end, and it is.
It's just going to be the Pilot Diva, and Dosarino falls into the well. A bit of a preemptive death, as Heavy is going to have that Primal Rage to stall it out some more. And they are going to actually get a little bit more time on. They are focusing him down, but it might not be enough. They are going to get people back to the point, so Heavy has stayed alive for quite a while.
Well, yeah, that Primal Rage did buy enough time for reinforcements to come in one last time, and a Pulse Bomb doesn't go anywhere. I don't even know where that went. Dosarino unfortunately did disconnect here from Flashpoint. So maybe this is a winnable situation for 0-2 now.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate timing to be sure, as they did have the Primal Rage to get back into the point. Heavy on that. Winston does contest it in overtime a little bit longer, and they do get that first pick-off. Actually, it's effectively a 2 pick-off, as
it's a 1-for-1 now, I guess, if they lost. Or actually, yeah, there's 2 now.
Dosarino did disconnect, unfortunately, in the middle of that fight, so that's going to be very unfortunate for them. However, ultimates are pretty scarce here for 0-2. They only have that self-destruct online, and they are not very close to anything else. So there could be an opportunity here to stagger it out a little bit further.
Well, 0-2 kind of had a really rough start of a fight, losing Cheese Decks and then having to wait a little bit. Now engaging, had Heavy use the Primal Rage, bought him enough time for one last engagement. Now this disconnect might kind of grant them a chance at this fight. Looks like he is back into this fight, but you are right, 6 versus 4. Now Valkyrie invested from Flashpoint as Scope, oh my god, he's disconnected again. Scope is like 1 HP in a Valkyrie, so he's gonna have to probably use that to try and get away from a bad situation.
1 HP in a dream, basically, for the Valkyrie. It's going to be a bit of a connection issue here for Dosarino. We're trying to get that resolved as quickly as possible. However, again, this is a case of there isn't a whole lot here. Like this fight, it's going to go, I think, in 0-2's favor, though not through any luck of their own or any. I wouldn't say it's a case of just unfortunate timing.
Kind of unfortunate, and Dosarino was just so on fire throughout this one map. You saw the triple kill at the very beginning. He even had the first blood in the second fight, and it's been sort of a struggle for Skeet Jesus on that Mercy from the team 0-2, always getting picked off really early. And now Scope is getting focused down as the Mercy from the other team has to use the Valkyrie to evade a situation. And from what you can see on this, well, now that you guys are actually in intermission screen, this fight will clearly go in 0-2's favor. We're hoping that Dosarino can get back, or maybe we might just skip to map 3. I don't know what the call will be.
Well, we're just, like I said, just waiting for that restart. When we do get back into it, as soon as we will do so. I mean, has anything surprised you so far from these two teams?
That 0-2's has stuck to the vanilla dive for now the 2 maps, and it's worked out for them on Ruins, not so hot on Well, and not really having an answer for the Dosarino on that Pharah from Flashpoint. Little bit worries me, but they're clearly trying to focus on winning the ground war as they have done in the previous map, but it's still not working out. So what do you suggest?
I mean, it's one of the things, like, one of the things that Pharah excels at, and this is something that 0-2 kind of fell prey to, is that if she gets first early picks, it's really hard to go into just a sheer spam fire, right? Especially the tanks are doing their job of zoning out properly. And 0-2 was unable to really walk in. Their supports kind of got absolutely demolished. There wasn't really a whole lot. And of course, with Sage on the Lucio, they had a lot more rotational ability. And of course, 0-2 was running that Zenyatta early on, so very slow moving support, and is prone to getting picked off if there's no real ability to peel for him. So it's 0-2 did switch about halfway through halfway through the round off that they were running a Orisa Roadhog composition early on. That really didn't work for them, so they did switch off to the dive composition in return. Actually, a mirror match, pretty much. They did put a Genji in place of a Pharah. Whether that's going to work for them, it remains to be seen. But definitely an interesting showing, I think, in terms of their compositional choices so far.
Yeah, and I think we already pointed out that Flashpoint were able to get in a better position due to the Lucio, while 0-2, I think they had Cheese Decks. I feel like Cheese Decks was playing something else at the beginning, but you're right, the Orisa didn't work because they couldn't even get into the right position. When you have Pharaoh Rockets kind of coming in at different angles, it's hard for an Orisa to stabilize in that way. Oh, good, Dosarino is back. We can stop over-talking, and we can get right into it.
Mercy managed to survive for quite a while, though.
Oh, Ski Jesus.
Scope actually gets the resurrect off, so that Valkyrie very much a turnaround here. They are going to use that sound barrier, though Redbird picks up the first kill, so they want to come right back in this fight. Again, it's that overtime timer. Self-destruct over the top. They want to try and get some value here. It's unfortunate, but that is going to be a C9 from 0-2.
And we had called that completely wrong. 6 versus 4 for 0-2. And it was the self-destruct up into the air that just kind of cleared everybody into cover. And then that overtime really just burned away, as we will still go into map 3. And kind of surprising that it was 100-0 for 0-2 on Ruins, 100-0 for Flashpoint on Well. Now we're into map 3. Are we going to see a retake at any point?
I mean, we have that was a. I don't think it's fair to really analyze the last half of that point, as there's a lot of shenanigans going on there. So,
NA
I think it's
yeah. Let's just forget about it.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
Oh God. I remember when I was in Canada and my modem was like, yeah, you know that Canada internet is just no good. Oof. I don't know where this guy's from, but let's go into possibly our final map of Ilios. As WoW is 0-2 already on the point with the speed boost.
It's going to be Ryan versus Ryan composition here, and it's going to be 0-2 with that first pick off. So the break goes down, and there's a lot less just AoE ability on the field here now for Flashpoint, as they're going to lose their Ryan and lose the fight pretty handily early on.
Yeah, Mac and Azir just got pushed out towards the mid part of the map, and that's where 0-2 cornered them and were able to focus down those 2 kills, which allowed them to take the point. And I like that both teams are running Lucio. It's really upping their aggression, moving towards the point with these Ryan comps. And mainly, what's interesting is Flashpoint, well, they were running Brigitte, and now there's a couple swaps coming in.
Yeah, they're going to be running that Pharah and the Hanzo, a lot of spam damage, something that Brigitte, something that you kind of force the healing out of 0-2 here to try and nullify the ability that Moira has. But the Graviton Surge not able to be eaten up in time, and they're going to find a couple of final blows through here.
Graviton was invested, and Mac actually counter-shotted and paired with the self-destruct double kill. This actually worked out so well for Flashpoint. Now they just now need to move on to the point where only 2 members remain here of 0-2, where Dosarino is taking care of it. Already got a pick off on Dad, but it's just a Reinhardt and a Moira remaining. But they've actually managed to just gain themselves another 10% for free.
Yeah, this fight is actually probably still going to go in their favor, as the respawns are walking through. Sola is going to go down, unable to get the mech back in time. And now 0-2 are in very advantageous positions. They have the healers, they have their tanks, and they not really a whole lot for Flashpoint to work with here.
Max, second time dying early in these fights, and where is the backup? Even Scope dies, deciding not to use the Transcendence. 0-2 should have lost that fight. Flashpoint had the number advantage, took them too long to realize it, as now 75% and growing for 0-2. Flashpoint had to change things up.
Flashpoint I think they're going to stick with what they've got. They've got ultimates coming online, so they don't really want to change too much. They want that ultimate
change their play style, change what they're doing.
They do have to come in as a team. Like, so far, the 2 fights they've taken have been pretty disjointed. They've lost the first one handily and just didn't take that second fight properly. But they're going to come in here now, and Dragon Strike is going to be committed.
Yeah, right through the middle. The Transcendence will lead them onto the point. Now Flashpoint looking for the retake. It'll force 0-2 in, along with the Coalescence. Oh, but Dosarino comes from behind with a barrage. It gets spotted away from the Diva, as a nurse shot from Mac does beat down the opposing Reinhardt, as the number advantage is still looks like pretty equal, as the Valkyrie is invested. One last chance for Flashpoint to get a retake, but Dad says no, with the Dragon Blade coming in, cutting up the rest of the DPS, securing the 3rd kill, taking out the D-Mech. and 0-2 will take this final map 100-0.
Another, I mean, so far we have had very lopsided stages, and that one's going to go back to 0-2. I think one of the things Flashpoint here, and this is a case, I think, of a team that is new and is showing it. There's a lot of miscoordination or, just inability to come in as a team in that 6v6 environment, in that team fight, and they're just using ultimates kind of haphazardly in how they go through, some of their fights.
I gotta say that Dosserino, man, that Farah looking good, but it's just a little bit of miscoordination. But are we really surprised? This is Flashpoint's first scrim. And at least they did take 1 point. I think it was on 100-0. And I mean, I guess we're not going to count that because it was disconnection central over there. But Junkertown map 2, teams are getting warmed up. Let's see what they can do.
This is such an interesting map, right? I mean, in the height of Dive, this is a map where you didn't run it. You ran that Bastion composition or the Roadhog and the Orisa. There's so much that was different here from the normal. So I'm interested to see how teams react to the changes where more tanks are viable now, especially with the changes to the addition of Brigitte and the change to Hanzo and so on. But now I'm curious to see how much this map's meta has kind of shifted.
Well, it was Flashpoint that brought out the Brigitte, just a glimpse of it on Lighthouse, and I want to see what more they can do because 0-2 have been so comfortable playing vanilla dive with the Genji Tracer, and the greatest answer for that is just bring a Brigitte in. Get that Tracer away from your tanks, get that Genji away with the blades, and because you got to shut down Dad, man. I don't know how many times I'll say that in my life, but happy Father's Day. He's been bringing out the blade and just obliterating Flashpoint. I think he'll be the one to watch.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, right? Like the counter to Tracer Genji seems to be the running of the Brigitte, but Flashpoint has not had success with that. And they're just gonna, I guess, keep running what they've been running. They are gonna start with a double sniper composition here on defenses. The offense sort of messes around in the meanwhile. I doubt we will see that Torbjorn, though if we do, that will be very exciting.
Well, Azir was the one I wanted to watch on that Widowmaker. He actually surprisingly didn't bring it out on Ilios Ruins. Like, that's another map you see a lot of double sniper on, but Junkertown is the double sniper map. And Azir is actually just right down the middle. Sometimes you see these snipers kind of set up different angles, watch flanks, and this will be their initial position as 0-2 come out the doors with a pirate ship.
It is a pirate ship, and they are going to get the first kill, as Idiot says. No, that's a little too on the nose, I think, but he does get that final blow. And the other sniper comes right back in, so the hook on that Bastion, and that's going to nullify that fight pretty much in its entirety. Senelitzia playing the Tracer, and the Genji on the flank as well. So a bit of a hideout here, though I do think the two flankers have been spotted.
Well, the disappearance of the Bastion, Heavy also goes on the Winston, so just want to close that distance, close in on those triple tank, get after those snipers. But Dad does take out a 0 and make it a Sage as well caught out. So this is the go sign for 0-2.
Yeah, he got the one burst combo on the standing still Adia, and it's going to be pretty much a wipe here. So the dive has definitely been in their favor. They come through and clean up. Heavy taking that high ground. The Winston trying to zone out some of the Heavy taking a lot of damage on the way in. The Resurrect will be there. So they are going to try and stuff these doors to prevent any recontest happening from 0-2.
Well, Infrasight available for Azir and getting a little bit of heat because Heavy's just staying up on that top side, just building some space and just keeping these snipers at bay. Is going to drop down onto the shields of Mac and Sola. Scope is staying behind, looking for the hook as Dad coming up from behind, but it's a Dragon Strike right onto the payload. Does build some distance here for Flashpoint as 0-2 just trying to get the wheels turning. They're separated, and now they've lost Cheese Decks and their mech, and they fall just like that.
Yeah, a couple of final blows for the snipers, and that's going to nullify any sort of a push attempt. A really messy fight, but just out-sustaining the dive there, and that absolutely spelled disaster. So if that dive can't get that first pick, it's going to be just a real slow play, but we are going to see that replay of the Genji coming through, finding that first kill.
Oh, that was nasty. Does he even get this third one? But it's just, you don't want to mess with Hanzo, man. New Hanzo is scary as heck. And Dad has just been playing fearlessly, going right after the Mercy. But we'll see. 0-2 now deciding to engage again, and they'll be relying on Dad's Dragon Blade coming in. Cheese Deck's also very close to Transcendence to keep him up. Heavy starts the engagement, but he gets hooked right out of it. Dad still invests the blade, goes to the very back, chasing after the Hanzo. He's the biggest threat, secures the double kill, going after Mac, but he's a pretty tanky guy, so it'll take a little bit longer.
That was absolutely a sacrifice of Heavy. They wanted to get that dive in, and they're going to find the DMAC as well. I don't think they want to commit the self-destruct. Perhaps they will. No, they actually find just the right amount of damage to get that cleanup all the way through. So it is going to be first point captured, but a rather aggressive defense definitely from 0-2 here as Adia picks up that final blow on Silicia. And it's going to be a reset here as another sniper kill coming in.
Tyr is not messing around. He's getting power boosted from his Mercy. Easy shots. Already getting Ski Jesus, who's, we've already pointed out, has had a hard time on control, kind of getting caught out, trying to fly in between different characters, getting sniped. But now a Doomfist is coming out from Dos Reno, and this is not something you see super commonly, but I love this choice on Street Phase.
There's a lot to come in that back line. If you're confident with that Doomfist, you can do a lot of work. So as Redbird tries to walk in on Mac, and there's going to be a ton of peel there to protect him from that Diva.
Dos Reno just came up behind it, just punches Zenyatta, now going right after Street Jesus, who has Street Jesus. Well, you might as well call him that. He had to use the Valkyrie to get out of that situation from Dos Reno, who gets punished right after that. Great peel from Redbird, using the self-destruct to clear the air. Heavy a little bit low from behind. He still finds that kill on the Sage somehow, but the fight is already over. 0-2 have secured point B.
There's still a little bit of cleanup here as Dos Reno trying to find a final blow before he falls. And he hasn't actually died yet, so they are going to rally into this fight. They want to try and take this retake right here. As Adia is on point, they are going to Transcendence coming into this fight and use the Dragon Blade as well.
Dragon Blade, and they just waited until that supercharger was out of the way here from Mac, and there was almost a base defense being set up from Flashpoint, and the kills are actually still rolling through. Even Sage is getting in on this. He takes out Dad. So 0-2 playing a little bit too ambitious. A lot of fights I feel like they should have won, and they somehow get turned around.
They panicked a little bit. They took a fight there with their ultimates. They thought they needed to go in and just didn't find any value. The communication wasn't there from 0-2, and the Dragon Blade was completely nullified. So an excellent showing from the Brigitte here. Again, this is a case of what we were talking about. The Brigitte just nullifies so much damage, so much presence from these flankers. They have to be very scared when they go around her.
Well, look at this push from 0-2 coming all the way from behind, but Flashpoint have decided to take a distance. Oh, the pulse bomb just almost takes out Scope, gets healed up. Dad goes in with the help of his tanks. They have closed the distance, but can they secure the kills? It's a 2-2 switch, but the defense have lost their mercy. As a gravity fist coming in from the sky, who's it going to land on just to get himself in a secure position? As 0-2 have taken so long to secure these kills, only 3 remain.
The Diva is still going to contest on cart, but it is the Diva and Tracer versus the world. And self-destruct actually catches Ski Jesus out before the Resurrect fully finishes. So that's going to allow the Genji, but that's no healing now whatsoever for the offense here. So Heavy commits the Primal Rage.
Yes, and he got Sage, and now the Dragon Blade should be able to finish things off for the cleanup, as 0-2 only had 2 members left, and it was a questionable Primal Rage from Heavy that kind of bought them enough time for reinforcements, and he did the same thing back on Well. How he's able to turn these fights for 0-2, now they've got point B, and it's just a 0 kind of burning some time off the clock, but 0-2 are having slower and slower offenses. I think this is going to come to a time bank situation later on.
Now only a minute 50 left here to get that final third, and we know how hard this third point is to capture. So easy to get stalled out, but Dos Reno has been an excellent breath of fresh air on this Doomfist, being able to walk back into that back line and find kill after kill.
Yeah, he's just tossing up these tanks, but he's having a hard time. Scope now uses the rally. This will give extra health to Flashpoint as a quick self-destruct here from Redbird, just at the back to get the mech back. But the defense now have secured their position onto the payload, and 0-2 overextended and haven't created the space to convert that.
And here's the stagger of all staggers on Redbird as they get the D-Mech off, and they're going to force him to stay out of mech and possibly walk back to spawn to switch. Again, as he just used that self-destruct, they are going to try and get that mech back.
Oh, switch.
Yep. So they just wanted to nullify that stagger. At a brutal one it would have been too. So we are down to the last minute of play here.
Oh, that's a painful one. Yeah, that Tracer was being sneaky at the back, but Dosarino is pretty good counter to Tracer along with the Brigida. Still very surprised that Strelitzia is still on that Tracer, although I'll butcher that anime name. Let's get into the final fight here, LaFon. 38 seconds remain. 0-2 have the Transcendence, but Cheese Dex goes down with it.
Yeah, as they're going to bring the Primal Rage out now for the defense, so Valkyrie is going to be committed as well. They have not much time left whatsoever, and Redbird going to be demeched once again as that Pulse Bomb was committed as well. And now this is going to be disastrous for 0-2 as they pick up 3 kills now to Flashpoint. And the Transcendence out at the last, but it is not necessarily going to be enough.
They needed to save Dad there. He had Dragon Blade. Transcendence came out way too late. Now Heavy's about to go down. Dosarino gets resurrected. Flashpoint have not been moved off of this payload. And 0-2 are about to end it here just shortly after point C. Overtime in effect. Elise spawns are close. Dad brings out the Dragon Blade, but it won't be much against the fists of a Doomfist. Self-destruct here for defense. Clears out even more space, but 0-2 cannot have any air to breathe as they're about to get stopped here any second.
The only one left alive is Strelitzia, that Tracer, and it's going to not be for long. Winston as well, just going to be focused down. No Primal Rage for him this time. And with that, overtime will tick away. And unable to complete round 1, it is going to be 0-2 having to be 2 points and a bit as their best effort.
Yeah, with 2 minutes left, I mean, I feel like point C is one of the most difficult parts for an offense to clear, because if you can't build that space at the start, you can get choked up in there so quickly. 0-2 kept overextending, but then weren't clearing that space. They weren't pushing Flashpoint off of the payload. Felt it was a huge problem with them, and Flashpoint had been playing very great since getting 100-0 on that first map. I was a little bit worried what they were going to pull out as. This is their first scrim, and surprisingly, they're holding well.
It's always interesting to see how teams react to their first loss, right? You don't always get the best showing right off the top, but it is, it is always how do teams turn around? How do they, bounce back from? I mean, to be cliche about it, how do they bounce back from adversity? And yes, it is a scrim block, but it is how you build sort of some of that mentality early on. So they do have a really aggressive defense both through first and second. Just take off so much time. And that it's really just a case of setting up on third and rotating ultimates in, and 0-2 just unable to find any sort of entry on that final point.
Well, they spent so much time kind of losing these fights that they should have won. For example, like the last fight on point A, you had one fight on point B, they used a Dragon Blade and all this crazy stuff, and they still didn't secure the fight. And it comes down to focus fire. Are they able to all focus their minds together and secure these kills as quick as possible? Where is Dad? I didn't even know you could sit there. Dad, what are you doing? Yeah, look at him. Is he trying to get a quick dash onto someone? I don't know. Maybe try and distract them. But Flashpoint will be on the offense. And they bring out triple tank, double sniper, single healer.
This is not exactly an uncommon showing. We've seen this kind of comp on this map before. And so...
AFK?
It's just going to be a slow walk up here.
Oh, he's going right after Dosarino, and he actually might secure this kill. Just missed his last shuriken. And now even Strelitzia is coming at the back. These flankers from 0-2, I think are going to cause a lot of trouble from Flashpoint. But if you're going to play risky, you could also go down and sort of open up an opportunity there for the offense.
The flank comes to no avail, but it does force a bit of a retreat here. Although Adia picks up the first kill, that Widow rather coming into play, pick up the headshot. However, the defense turn it around as the flankers continue to work right off the top.
Yeah, they're 2 for 1, now 2-2, but the tanks from the defense are getting pretty low, so Flashpoint is still deciding to engage. They know their mercy is right behind them somewhere. Still, actually, Dad is super low, but look, the return of Heavy, just trying to stall this payload as much as they can, but 0-2 only have a few members left, and Flashpoint need to realize that they have the number advantage. They need to push on through and create that space.
Yep, that Infrasight was committed, and so the Genji comes around the wall and is not going to find any sort of happiness through that. So Strelitzia off the back line is going to find the kill, as it will be resurrected right back up, and the fight, and that's going to be completely nullified right away.
Yeah, and even have Strelitzia kind of lost in the sauce, still trying to fight, but not really holding the payload. And that was kind of a similar thing that we saw on point C, staggering himself. But what flankers have to remember is, yes, you're creating opportunity by going on flanks, trying to get these picks, but when the payload's in trouble, you need to know when to commit back to your tanks to keep up that point pressure. As now point A is unlocked here for Flashpoint. They'll be moving on forward, and 0-2 are playing a pretty forward defense.
Pretty forward defense, but they're down a player. Is that just Strelica rather just went down that tracer, not finding any sort of success. The Hanzo doing so much to counter, and now with that this Dragon Strike and the Roadhog, they want to try and zone out as much as possible here, prevent any sort of contest.
Well, Dad coming in with the blade. Yes, goes right after Sage, who has to use a Valkyrie, but still slices through that Mercy and going for more. Actually only securing that one kill, but it doesn't matter because the fight is already won for the offense. It'll be just a quick stall from the Tracer here, as Flashpoint will have to face one last fight before they go and secure point B, but this has been a much easier of a breeze for them.
I mean, that fight was won by Idea on the Widow. Picks up a close range headshot on the Valkyrie, on the Mercy with that Valkyrie. So it is, or sorry, on the Mercy trying to damage boost Dad's Dragon Blade. My mistake, as the Valkyrie was actually from Sage. And then picks up a couple more shots on the tanks, just weaken them throughout that fight. And a first pick off here, and that's going to be disastrous for 0-2 with no main tank coming in. And Strelica as well, going down early.
So DPSs are down for the offense. The Transcendence is committed from the defense. As a quick resurrect, it did go through to bring Azir back. Now, can they keep up this pressure? They invest the Supercharger, trying to outweigh their damage. Self-destruct does go behind the shield, and it does. Gets Mac and at least a Supercharger, which is a pretty important pickoff.
Yeah, and that's going to force the DPS back. Strelica picks up another kill as Dosarino back on the Doomfist. They're going to pick up one for their troubles, but that might not be enough. Strelica has to retreat, uses that recall, needs to get out from here, and finds a face first look at Dosarino's fist.
Well, Flashpoint now, trying to find a moment to engage Dosarino back onto this Doomfist. I love it because he just wants to get Strelica and Dad out of the picture. But when you got a Pulse Bomb and a Dragon Blade from the other side, and even a Primal Rage to stall this out. So 0-2 and a good ultimate advantage at the current moment. But Sage will start out the Valkyrie. Let's get some extra healing and power boosting right onto the payload. But meanwhile, Heavy has been using the Primal Rage at the very back, contesting 3 players from Flashpoint, but they're still winning the fight.
They have not had a lot of time to get the resources in. The Dragon Blade is going to be committed here. It's going to find one. Idea goes down. And the self-destruct as well to try and zone out some players. Strelica goes down. It is now just Skeet just left alive at the last. He is going to go down as well to the blaster of Sage. So a little mercy violence. And it's now a 3rd point hold with 3 minutes and 36 seconds left on the clock. And they don't have to go very far at all to get that golden box of victory.
Mercy on mercy violence. I love it. But only actually Flashpoint have a minute 40 more than 0-2 have to get to this yellow box of victory. But look at this. 0-2 are not really fighting on the payload. They're actually losing. There's a double kill from the Doomfist. And now they need to quickly get back. Azir is just pushing the payload. And this is all over. Flashpoint going to take Junkertown and even up the series 1-1.
That is just absolute clinic on 2nd and 3rd. Not really a whole lot that 0-2 could do. They kind of got staggered throughout the map as we see our play of the game here. It's going to be the shutdown of a couple of ultimates here, as the Dragon Blade will fall as the Zen out of Transcendence goes down as well. And the last final blow, of course. So Junkertown is in the books, and it's going to be Flashpoint taking the victory. And 0-2, again, it's a case of they don't take any sort of committed fights, but whether through 1st or 2nd, and kind of suffer as a result.
I just feel like Flashpoint are adapting to 0-2 so much better. 0-2 are playing vanilla dive, constantly Tracer Genji, and what does Flashpoint do? They bring out the Doomfist, they bring out the Brigida, and they're playing so well. Even sending somebody like Heavy, I think that's the tank, or did I? Nope, wrong team. But they send their Winston or their tanks to contest the snipers and everything. And 0-2 haven't come up with an answer, haven't come up with something different to go against a Doomfist. And you would think Doomfist is actually pretty easy to counter, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he's got so much space to work, he's not really being focused down, and there isn't a whole lot in terms of who can contest him on the defense or on 0-2's side, right? They have, I guess, the Diva, but the supports are kind of free. The DPS are kind of trying to focus the front. And Dosarino's connection continues to absolutely suffer. So we are going to see a quick reset here. But Blizzard World is our next map, and this could be an interesting showing. I mean, Blizzard World, it was started off as a tank map, and then you play, dive at certain points, and you play, sort of the brig composition sometimes. So I'm interested to see how these guys come forward and really attack this point.
Well, another pause because Dosserino has a microwave for a router, and he's going to go for another quick reset. But, I mean, hey, we'll let him. I mean, Dosserino has been so impressing me from not only his mechanical ability, but his versatility in his hero pool. You bring out something like Doomfist, and then you go to something like Pharah, and he actually plays a pretty mean Zarya. I think we've seen that back on Ilios.
Yeah, I mean, the flexibility, I think this is one of the metas where you have to be the most flexible, even though there's so few opportunities to actually play. Like, I mean, we see on ladder specifically, there's like 7 viable heroes. But I think in terms of like Scrim environment, there's so much that you can do. You can play that heavy tank comp, that 3-3. You can play 4 tank, you can play quad tank. You can play dive still, I think. A modified dive is still viable. There is more, I think, Widowmaker in your dive than you would normally have seen, but it is definitely playable. And of course, just how much are flankers able to get away with? If they don't get punished, there is still a room for them to work. And so far, I mean, the first maps, the flankers didn't get punished, but through the second, it seems to have evened out a bit in that affair.
I felt like the last Junkertown offense. I just think the snipers from Flashpoint, especially Azir on that Widowmaker, I think you point out a lot of the time these fights were turned around due to his picks, and that's when 0-2 had to really fight back, send heavy with a Primal Rage at the back just to go and bounce around somebody like a Widowmaker like Azir. And Flashpoint have been able to just create that space so much easier. And I think their only struggle was point B, and after that, it's been pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, 0-2 has to really look at what they're trying to accomplish in this Scrim environment. And again, not to put too fine a point on it, Scrims are not necessarily for winning exactly, but you have to come in. You have to come in with a plan. You have to come in with, sort of what goes right, what's going wrong, how can we fix it? Because, yeah, you may have cases where, okay, we're going to try this certain thing, but is it actually working? And right now, I think 0-2, they're trying to bang their head against the wall without actually going after what they're trying to really accomplish as a team. They're taking dive, yeah, but dive is only great in this current situation, this current patch, if you play it as a focused assassination effort, essentially. You go in, you pick a target, you take them down, you get out. And 0-2 have been sort of scattered on who they chose in terms of their attacking vectors. So I think here there is definitely an opportunity for them to work through what they're running, but they have to be a little bit more clinical, a little bit more focused in how they approach their dive.
Well, we are here in Blizzard World, map 3, series 1-1. After, 0-2, taking 2-1 on Ilios, and then you just saw Flashpoint for Junkertown taking that. So we'll see as teams are warming up. I think Flashpoint have definitely been warmed up. I was a bit worried about them on Ilios, but Control is always like a test map for both teams, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's also the first map of the night, and the maps, frankly, went back and forth. So Ruins was definitely very much one-sided, as was Lighthouse, but I think it's a case of a flavor of composition, where the thing that you're running isn't exactly what you're comfortable with, and so you kind of get steamrolled on it. So especially with Ruins being so favored for that kind of like aggressive gameplay, and Flashpoint just really didn't show up in that kind of fight, but have really cleaned it up since then.
Well, let's take a look at what the defense will be running while the offense contemplate what they'll try on Blizzard World, and we'll see. Brigitte comes back for Flashpoint. Obviously, I think they're expecting a dive to be coming in, and Mac has been preferring the Orisa over every other tank and running that with a Diva and a Junkrat. So they'll be playing sort of base defense at the very back of the point.
I mean, this is kind of the composition we've seen from a lot of teams. Although Orisa is a bit of an odd choice. Sometimes you do see that Reinhardt, especially with the ability to just do so much damage and just move around so frequently. But I mean, otherwise, we see a pretty common composition. Idea back on the Widowmaker, something that he's been very good at, and it definitely fits him. I mean, French to French, it is a match that we speak of, but it is going to be the attackers running that dive composition again, double flanker into that Junkrat Brigitte. So a bit of a, we'll have to see how this plays out for sure.
Zero 2 definitely playing predictable in their comps, not really trying anything new. In Flashpoint, it brought out the anti-dives. You got the Junkrat, you got the Halt, you got the Brigitte, and they're playing that distance battle. So Zero 2 will be just waiting behind this wall here when the moment to engage is. And you'll have your flankers trying to find an angle as they start to engage right after the tank. Scope is already out of the fight. Dos Sereno, they've already started to push off towards the point, and a free tick is earned for Zero 2.
And Silesia has done a great job of pulling out 4 people out of position.
Aw.
Dos Sereno goes down yet again.
Feels bad.
I mean, in this case, I think he should call his ISP at once and insist that he gets a refund right away, because that is some embarrassing uptime on his connection.
See, like, I'm from Canada, so, like, I kind of understood this Comcast. It's kind of like the Rogers, right? Like...
Yeah, oh boy. Actually, fun fact, just a quick aside, Rogers, one of their servers went down, so anyone who was in Eastern Ontario recently had 120 ping to Overwatch when they normally got 50.
Feels good.
May as well have just played on EU, right?
Dude, I feel so bad for these, like, contenders players that are playing out of Korea, or I think there's even, I don't know if that was serious, but players in here that are from EU, like, playing with high ping really sucks, especially when you're a hit scan.
Yeah, I mean, high ping anything kind of really sucks, but of course the time difference, the language barriers, oh, there's so much. We
As
get
long as you know the hero names, you're just like, Brigitte, 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 mercy, mercy, mercy. As long as you can just, like, yell a hero name constantly, then,
I feel like it's a little bit less tame than that in team comms.
Probably.
But,
I've never been on a team. I wouldn't know. I'm just making light of it.
I think for on air, we'll keep the secrets of team communications just that.
Yeah.
As Dos Sereno will eventually get back in, but it is going to likely be first point 2-0-2. So we will try it. I mean, this is a bit of an interesting fight. And we are getting a small hint or a little factoid from our producer. The diva is pronounced as D.V in Japan. I was not aware of this, actually, so that's interesting to note. My team used to call Mercy some very unsavory names, so I will not... this was, of course, during the height of Mercy meta. As many other players...
I'd hate to be a Mercy player in, like, old meta.
Oh, boy. I mean, now Mercy's still pretty much a must pick, right? So
Right.
She is as mandatory as ever.
But now she's, like, actually participating in the fight. Before, it was, like, go hide and then swoop in for the 6 res, you know? Like, you get to play so much safer now, you know? It's different.
Yeah, now you
need a brain.
You exist and press left click so well. And sometimes you even press E. Amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Interactive gameplay.
Brigitte is now the next no-skill hero on the board, where you just hold left click the entire time.
I mean, sometimes you hold right click and left click simultaneously, so that's, yeah. And then, of course, you press Q next to your Zenyatta, and he just never dies.
Yeah, that is true.
Interestingly, I think the team comp here we're seeing from the defense is Brigitte Mercy combination. They aren't really... Dos Sereno was playing the Junkrat, so there isn't really a whole lot of healing here on this defensive side. You kind of see that from how the tanks have sort of been pushed out, as Scope was unable to really do any sort of thing, trying to zone Silesia out. The Tracer doing really, really well, just, you know, kiting basically half the team away and getting progress on that point. Dos Sereno will eventually be back, we hope. But until then...
Yeah, I think you pointed out that, Flashpoint have put a lot of trust into Sage. Even in Junkertown, I remember them running triple tank, double sniper, single support, I believe. And it did work out for them. So a lot of trust on the Sage. They know how to protect him pretty well. Whilst I couldn't say the same for 0-2 on Ski G's. It's not that he's playing necessarily bad. It's just the appeal for your supports is different between these two teams.
For sure. 0-2 seems to be wanting to play a little bit more of an up-pace, up-tempo style. I don't necessarily know that it's been working for them, but it has created a lot of chaos, sometimes in their favor, sometimes against them. And unfortunately, the most common victim of such a play tends to be your own supports. So it will remain to be seen if that can be, remedied through this latter part of this map. But until then...
Must be kind of a stressful. You know, you got your first scrim with your team. You're ready to pop off on your Pharah, Doomfist, whatever that guy plays. and then you DC like 90% of the time. So I don't know how long Dos Arena's lifespan is on Flashpoint, but you know, your 2-hour block is going to be like 2 maps. So
here's an old callback, but I think he's getting a couple of phone calls. No one under the age of like 20 will understand what I mean by that.
Oh. Well, I'm over that age and I missed it.
I mean, dial-up was a thing, man.
Oh God, that like fax noise when you're trying to connect. Only 90s kids remember.
I mean, I grew up in a rural area, so we had dial-up until I was like 15 or 16. Actually, yeah. And then I moved to the city and got high-speed internet for the first time.
You remember when the internet was quote busy during like busy times?
Yes.
My MSN wouldn't load. My Yahoo, whatever I was using, wasn't loading.
Oh man, that's some old school internet right there.
Oh yeah, those MSN days.
Yeah. That implied you had friends though. I didn't have any of those, so at least not on the internet.
2 hours later, yeah, insert the SpongeBob memes. I'm ready for it. I mean, I can make a million jokes about how I'm dying of old age over here, but tactical DC, yes, chat, you are correct. For once, plat chat isn't plat. That's a real icing the other team, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm down to just banter. I mean, once you're sick of me, you can throw it to break.
We are good at...
Oh, you're good at throw it to break? That was quick. No, just kidding. Go for it. No.
I mean, I'm literally at this point we're waiting to see if there's any update on Mr. Dos Areno. Maybe I mean, maybe the Sombra is at his house. Super unfortunate, but what can you do?
I remember in the good old COD days, if someone with DC, you would just play a man down. Screw you. Just 4 versus 3. Biggest struggle ever.
I mean, if you're good enough, you will take exactly no kills, because it is really tough to get that at the highest level.
So it's kind of like different, like 4 versus 3 versus 6 versus 5. You can still kind of win a fight, maybe, if you're good. But
yeah, it's so tough though, like, especially Overwatch, which is so dependent on kind of the, just kind of like the synchronization between roles. Like if you lose one player, you basically, I think in Overwatch, when you lose one player, it's not just you lose one player, you lose 1/6 of your resources, right? It's not just slaying power, of course. It's like space creation from your tanks, or damage mitigation, or healing. And of course, if there's no damage, and especially in this, healing heavy meta we've got right now, you just will never burst through any sort of line that the defense has. You just need that damage that you need from that second DPS in this case. But there is a bit of an argument going on in terms of 0-2's team name. I think a lot of people will be familiar.
We're all just arguing about who's best girl, like all weebs do. We'll all fist fight about that one day. Whoa, we got spoilers. No, stop. I think I might go crazy with this do thing in my head.
The ticking of the point. I think we will take just to get a chance to figure out exactly what's going to happen with these two teams. We are going to take a quick break between these two, because it seems that Dos Areno is having a lot of struggle to get back. So we will get back into the action as soon as we can, but we will be heading to break now. Stay tuned. We'll be back as soon as possible.
Question mark? Oh, we got a sub.
Oh, they got a sub at the last. Wow, the timing.
I mean, this guy's clearly dead. I think he went to buy a new router. That Comcast, man. Yeah, F in the chat for Dos Areno. It's like D-Dos Areno. It's pretty ironic, actually. Oh, he's actually back. Oh, he's back with the Doomfist. We're here. Are you here?
Okay, there we go.
You're back? I was like, I can't lose you too, man.
No, a little bit of an awkward scenario in my background, but it has been solved. It is going to be Large fight. Heavy has to get out there. There's no healers now. They did come back. And they turn a bad fight in their favor. Daddy going to be coming with that Dragon Blade. They want to win this fight right here, right now. With that Dragon Blade going down, however, there isn't a whole lot for them to work off of.
This is what happens when you ice the other team for this long. You have Dad using a Dragon Blade 2v5. But despite that, 0-2 almost completed 81.2%. And that should have been a 1-5 for Flashpoint. Or, sorry, for 0-2 after that disconnection. I think it's probably the second time we've seen this, right? Dosarino disconnected on Ilios, and 0-2 actually, like, didn't win the fight. So...
Truly a big brain play here.
They C9'd, yeah.
Yeah, coming back into this next fight, there isn't a whole lot to work with here, just a pulse bomb. And Primal Rage for the attackers. The defense coming up on Rally as Heavy walks back in. Takes a whole boat of damage.
Oh, knock everybody into the water. Oh, it was so close. But meanwhile, they're actually almost capturing the point of Strelitzia, and they forced everybody down from Flashpoint. Resurrect will keep Flashpoint still in this fight, where a self-destruct and even a supercharge available from Flashpoint, as they had just used the Valkyrie to give them an initial advantage. Taking out Cheese Decks will give them the upper hand. Now, tossing up the players is Dosarino, going off self-destruct, and it does not find much.
Yeah, Redbird is going to get that self-destruct, but immediately get demeched right away as he picks up the kill and the final blow. And it's going to be another reset here for 0-2. As Adia picks up yet another kill, has been absolutely popping off on this Widowmaker. Really good showing.
That's another fight, 0-2, are taking so long to really conquer. And 85% now, they've gained at least 4%. That was at the beginning of Strelitzia, just sitting on the point. Flashpoint playing so far back. 0-2 need to close that distance, and it was so close because Heavy almost just knocked everybody into the water, and that would have been such a cool play. But now going in will be Dad's Dragon Blade, and he'll have a Transcendence to keep him up.
Here comes that dive, as mentioned. Daddy with the Dragon Blade is going to find Scope. Scope goes down as well. Self-destruct over the top is not going to be nearly enough. And before the remake comes right back in, they are going to get this point at the very end. 40 seconds remaining.
That is the only one getting kills.
Okay, only the Doomfist left to contest. He will go down, and that will be it for first point.
That was 4 kills for Dad. Like, he kind of threw his Dragon Blade last time, but we're going to have the replay. You could see he goes right after Azir first, and then had dealt with the Brigitte second, going after the rest of the team. He just knows exactly what target to go after. Now 0-2 just going right through mid, having, I think, somebody on the payload. That's their Zenyatta. They're building so much space right now. They want that high ground control, but Flashpoint is starting to fight back.
Yep, Heavy goes down. There's so much damage coming through, and with the Doomfist in Ski Jesus' face, can't get the Resurrect off and has to retreat. 2 HP. The dive comes right back in, so this changeover, and that's going to be a fight reset here for 0-2. And they create a lot of space, but aren't really able to commit and gain any value beyond that.
Yeah, that payload did not move that far, but at least they stacked a ton of ultimates. So that was a really good economy fight for them, as Flashpoint only have a Valkyrie, Meteor Strike, Transcendence. Already the Valkyrie and Transcendence now thrown out the start, but the payload is still moving. Quick pulse bomb at the back from Strelitzia does get stolen pretty low, and that DMAC did go through, while Dosarino having that Meteor Strike, just tossing up these tanks in the way as Dad brings out the Dragon Blade at the very back and does go after Azir again.
Yeah, the Doomfist is going to try and find the kill on the Zenyatta, does so. Cheesedex goes down, but it is not going to be nearly enough, and the Doomfist runs away and then falls to his death. At Redbird's hands, the Resurrect is there, so now this next fight needs to happen very early, and Heavy's going to just jump right in. They want to win it right here, right now.
Yeah, I was going to take Scope out at the beginning. He'll have Transcendence. Now they're pretty far back. Now Mac has a Primal Rage, and now he's going after the supports. He's taking out Ski Jesus, going after Cheese Dex, and there is no response from 0-2. They need to come back, and they're not even pushing the payload, so this is a very questionable fight there for them.
And again, we've said this time and again, 0-2 playing so aggressively, and their supports have absolutely no peel whatsoever. And that's going to be a reset now, is without that heal, and the tanks just aren't able to keep up in the front line. 60 seconds now, as Athena mentions. It is going to be last fight territory here on Blizzard World. And though they don't have very far to go here on second, it is still a large amount to get through without very many ultimates to work with.
Well, Flashpoint will have that high ground control to start, where 0-2 Now trying to engage that as well. They've already lost Strelitzia, who's trying to be sneaky at the back, and that's going to be Heavy, who initiates the fight again. Doesn't have the Primal Rage, has to be careful of his health pool. As Dad joins it by his side, Heavy, though, got too risky. Redbird is going to leave that self-destruct. It does create some space, but all they have to do is go down the staircase a little bit. As meanwhile, nobody has been pushing the payload. So this fight had no value here to 0-2.
0-2 are going to lose their mech again. Redbird gets D-mech, and they're going to stagger him out to the very end. And now, look at that ult economy on the defensive side. 6 ultimates nearly, and there isn't a whole lot for the offense to work with whatsoever. And there goes that brutal stagger.
Oh, we gotta
they
touch
are going to touch the card, but just barely.
Oh god, and then Mercy just got punched off. Oh, sorry, that was the Tracer, but the Mercy also ate a punch. 3 down already for 0-2. This payload won't be going anywhere. That's a late Transcendence. Tech is completely shut down, but the Transcendence and Valkyrie was there to counter it anyway. As 0-2 will fall short here on Blizzard World, not even getting to point A.
We're going to have to see how Flashpoint takes their attack round, but that was a much cleaner defense, I think, from Flashpoint on second specifically. As first was a bit of a gong show, as one might say. That is unfortunate. That's a uniquely Canadianism right there.
I was gonna say the S word show, but you were way more politically correct than I was about that. I just had a lot of faith in 0-2's dive, but we've already mentioned they're playing pretty predictable now. Flashpoint know exactly how to counter it. They brought out the Doomfist, they have the Brigitte, and they're outplaying them. When the dive comes in, they don't allow the objective to move forward. So Flashpoint are just winning these fights consecutively.
I mean, one thing that Flashpoint is kind of doing, and it's working really, really well, is we've mentioned this. It's a very aggressive dive from 0-2, but they leave their supports to contest point. And what's happening is the defense is just holding their tanks and supports back in the backline and saying, all right, we're going to take the dive, and we're going to send our DPS after the supports. The supports go down, there's no sustain, 0-2 loses the fight. And that's kind of how it is for the last little bit now, is Flashpoint, basically, they just have to weather their storm until their DPS get a kill or two, and they just walk back in and win with superior health pools.
Exactly. 0-2 are not really straying away from the dive, still staying with it. Lucio on the defense is interesting, since they'll have to use that speed boost to kind of move around, as would have expected maybe a Zenyatta for a Transcendence, as now Flashpoint are hovering over the vanilla dive, and this is something that we haven't really seen from Katarina, maybe not feeling that Genji. Zero's Tracer is something we haven't seen in this series. I know it is capable. He is capable. As his Widowmaker's pretty strong, you might assume that his Tracer is there too.
It is going to be the first, I think, well, I mean, he has played Widow, I think, on first match, so that is somewhat the case, but it is going to be a very aggressive setup here, hiding inside the room from 0-2. They want to take an early dive, as playing aggressively is their forte, it seems.
Well, this is a very sneaky push from 0-2. They go right after Scope, and they do secure that kill. Mac was a little bit too late for that, and now the defense can just come on back. They do lose their Mercy, though, and now both supports out for 0-2, so their sneaky defense is actually pinching them in the butt.
Yeah, and it's going to be Dad going down. He's trying to contest at the last, not really able to find any sort of progress. Strelitzia, the only one there to really try and contest in terms of maneuverability on the point. They do take out one, but it may not be enough. They might be able to come back in for a recontest here as the supports and tanks are finally showing up, but it might be a little too late.
Well, it was still a great defense to kind of come up from behind. They go right after their supports, but then they lost their supports in the progress. It kind of became an equal fight as Pulse Bomb lands on the Redbird, gets that D-Mech, but now they need to secure the point before reinforcements come in from 0-2. It's another Pulse Bomb, ain't gonna do much, but the point is finally unlocked here for Flashpoint. It took forever for 0-2 to get that. So this is heavily favoring Flashpoint to get to that yellow box of victory with 5 minutes.
And they just want to reset here, try and die on card if they couldn't get out, and that's going to be the DPS and tanks just falling. The supports try and run away, but they're going to be chased down all the way to spawn as the G picks up the last kill. Oh, and this is going to be disastrous, so they get staggered out here. Tanks unable to run away. Heavy will get back into the spawn room. Primal Rage, they want to keep them in here. They want to get these final blows.
Well, Meteor Strike coming up in the air, and look how much distance that Flashpoint have earned and how much space they're building. The Primal Rage smacking everybody back into spawn, and they're able to retreat smartly, focusing on that high ground and that objective. Now they've cleared out 0-2. going towards that distance, but now 0-2 have stacked up quite a few ultimates, and they need to execute properly. This could be their last fight.
Dragon Blade is there, Transcendence as well to double support. And the self-destruct is committed as well. They're going to use everything here on the offense to try and get this back in their favor. A couple of kills, though, going towards the defense's favor.
0-2 now retreating back onto the payload. They need to make sure he doesn't move any further, as the self-destruct will clear everybody from this street. Flashpoint, though, are still engaging. The diva here from Sola needs to kind of get back with the rest of the team. 1v6 not going to work out, as at least 0-2 have forced a reset from Flashpoint. 4 minutes left, though, and it's quite an investment of ultimates from 0-2 to make that happen.
Oh, Daddy goes down, the right click from
no.
Scope. And that's not going to be able to be resurrected, so they are going to be able to come back this next fight. Our Flashpoint early on, and they are going to be able to... Oh, and another pick off early, so the Tracer on Tracer, Strelitzia goes down, not getting the value in that fight, and this means that the supports are zoned out yet again.
And it's only Heavy that has the Primal Rage on the payload, and they're about to get to the yellow box of victory. Somebody from 0-2 needs to touch, and Redbird is there, but they lose Ski Jesus again. Could not keep their Mercy in safety, as a 2 DPS from 0-2 on this defense. We're late to the party, but now they're here to play, going after the tanks. The DMAC does go through. Now they're just the Primal Rage left in their path, but if he creates enough room, this could be victory here for Flashpoint. They only need a few more meters and 3 minutes to do it.
Yeah, they have used a bunch of ultimates, but they aren't really finding any progress. Heavy nearly goes down, almost yet again. The supports have come right back and try and keep him up, as has the Doomfist coming through with the fist. Finds a kill or two. Hasn't really been enough to turn the fight yet in their favor fully. Ultimates continue to be used, trying to find victory. Transcendence as well. And 0-2 has been slowly but surely able to find a little bit more ground here as they walk forward.
That was a clutch bubble from Heavy. That self-destruct could have cleared everybody for enough time to push this payload. As another self-destruct now, this time from the defense. This does build them some very significant space, as Dosarino is trying to close it here with the Doomfist, going right after that. Genji knows that Dad is the biggest threat, but actually gets punished in the same way. Strelitzia there to defend Dad. So it's such a funny way of saying it, but now down to the last 2 minutes. Flashpoint need to pull off a significant offense if they want to secure this map on Blizzard World. The 0-2 are now starting to wake up.
That was a really explosive fight from 0-2 as they rotate their ultimates in a much cleaner fashion than Flashpoint ever did. They build that Transcendence. Heavy, though, so aggressive here. First kill, though, again to 0-2.
A 0-2 playing really forward and even get that pulse bomb kill onto Scope. They lose Cheese X, but he'll be back quicker than you think. As Flashpoint now have a Deer with the pulse bomb. Dosarino goes down. Look how crazy 0-2 are playing to even get that resurrect. They are just keeping Flashpoint in their spawn. They're able to just burn off 30 seconds off the clock. This will come down to the last minute. And Flashpoint, they need ultimates to work with, and they don't have much.
They force a self-destruct out of Sola, so that is another ultimate off the board. They aren't really having, again, not a whole lot to work with. They will have the Primal Rage online and the Transcendence, which is committed right there as they walk into this fight.
Oh, they're pushing them back, and especially Dosarino leading the way, but it's not at the very back, into the back line, just getting after these supports. And he does find Sage finally after all is said and done. But 45 seconds left. 0-2 have held this defense, and they need to hold them back into the spawn, as Flashpoint had so much time to just get a few meters, and they're struggling to leave the spawn now.
That said, they only used the Meteor Strike and Transcendence on that fight, and they are close to their self-destruct, and they have the rest of their ultimates online. So they are going to come to this next fight with a lot in their bank. It is actually going to be 0-2, the ones who are down in Ultimate Economy in this last fight. And they're going to engage here, jumping directly to Cart Mac with that Primal Rage.
Yeah, he needs to toss these guys up, going right after Ski Jesus. This would be such an important kill, and he does secure it. Now needs to protect his backline, because the flankers of 0-2 have gone after their supports as well. Mac is the last one. Valkyrie up into the air to try and keep them up, but they have to touch the payload just in time. That was a Azir. Clutch now trying to stay onto the payload. The pressure is there from Flashpoint. Now a few meters, they have secured the kills. There's still a few members from 0-2 that are ready for one last hurrah. That's Heavy, 9% off the Primal Rage. He needs to get it in this fight, but that's that again with another Dragon Blade.
Skichi just doesn't go down. He does escape at the very end, and this might actually be it for Flashpoint, as It is going to be 0-2 coming in. The Dragon Blade picks up 2 kills, and the cleanup is there. Meteor Strike, they need to get something of this, anything whatsoever. And the self-destruct not going to be on board as overtime ticks away. The dash through Dosarino, and that will be Blizzard World going to 0-2.
I was not expecting this kind of result. 0-2 just had such a weird offense, barely getting to point B, as we already mentioned, and Flashpoint had 5 minutes to clear that such a little distance. And what do you think was the problem here?
I think it's a case of just ultimate rotations. How often do we say use ultimates only when you need them and not just, just to try and commit fights? Flashpoint, they started off with that ult economy so well, right? They came through, they took a very aggressive second point. They pushed them into the spawn. They pushed 0-2 into their spawn. And then at the very end of that fight, at the very end, to the point, excellent stall from 0-2, only committing what they exactly needed and no more. And Flashpoint just could not commit, could not get any final blows with their ultimates, couldn't get any value from those high impact abilities. And they're just gonna go down on Blizzard World.
0-2, I mean, once they played close range, I felt they were just disabling Dosarino, who is usually just going off on the Doomfist all the time. But because they were playing so close range, I felt like Flashpoint couldn't infiltrate 0-2's backline as much as they used to. And back onto the payload, it was neck and neck between these two teams. And it's hard to say where it went wrong. 5 minutes, and it's looked like a close fight. I felt like it could have gone either way.
Oh, absolutely. Those fights, all of them, I think were 1 or 2 kills away from swinging back in the other team's favor. So excellent showing, definitely though, from 0-2, just to keep their minds in the game on that point.
Well, 0-2 will be leading the series 2-1 after Blizzard World, where the only map that Flashpoint caught was on Junkertown. But we are going into Volskaya for our assault map. I believe 0-2 will be starting on the offense.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a change up, I think. 0-2. They ran offense first last time actually on Blizzard World as well.
They haven't changed sides at all, yeah.
So it is going to be again their attack. This is an interesting map, Volskaya. We see a lot more Widowmaker here historically as of late. Anyway, so I'm interested to see if both of these teams will run it, or one or neither. However, it is. This map also, I think, has been one map that has switched around a lot in terms of the compositional situations that you sort of see. Sombra was super popular here back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, not exactly her home map, but as close to it as she gets, aside from perhaps Dorado.
Yeah, controlling those the mega and the mini pack has been one of Sombra's signature maps, especially on point A. Even point B, she's very strong. And I think Scope will be using her on this point A at least. And triple DPS, double tank, single heal Lucio from Flashpoint. And that's going to be relying a lot on those health packs.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the changes to Sombra where she doesn't get all charged from her health packs, but she does, of course, increase the charge rate of them. So it is not uncommon to see how much. And it looks like they'll be playing a very aggressive flanking style here with that Sombra.
It's going to be interesting. 0-2 leaving the doors with their signature dive. They're not going anywhere different with their compositions. Leaving, going through mid, just finding the right opportunity where those flankers, it's has kind of watched the whole team go by. I guess he didn't even see them. A little bit late to the fight, but 0-2 has started off with a kill onto the main tank of Flashpoint. So this is already a good start, and they got the D-Mech on the Sola.
And this is the case of where a healer is so important. You're not able to get to the health packs, and you're just going to fall as a result. So that's 3K immediately, as Sola will be removed from pilot form, and only the contested. It is, of course, going to be a reset here, as point A will go to 0-2. And I mean, with only a solo heal Lucio and the health packs, there isn't a whole lot for the tanks to do in the middle of a fight except get bursted down.
It's just the wrong solo heal. At least run a Mercy. Even a Moira can solo heal. I've tried it, but a Lucio is AoE healing, and you got your DPS playing all over the place. But now this will snowball into point B, where 0-2 have 7 minutes to finish this off. And Scope eats the pulse bomb from Strelitzia, as now the supports from Flashpoint are under fire. but the DPS as well are falling for 0-2 as Ski Jesus goes down. And this offense looked really good for 0-2. I don't know what happened.
That was a excellent play by Adia to bring it right back. The one clip on, I believe, Ski Jesus on the Mercy to take it out there. And it's just going to be an excellent DPS play, bring that right back around for Flashpoint.
Well, there's plenty of time to go, and I like how at least they've swapped their solo heal to a Mercy. That'll work out a lot better, especially with the power boosting. As 0-2 are running, well, they have double support, but they also have, it's actually Dosarino this time. Usually when you hear Dragonblade, it's Dad, but he hasn't really found much. The Valkyrie from the other side, too strong.
Self-destruct catches heavy, and a pulse bomb stick right there as well. So they're trying to win this right back, but the Primal Rage will nullify as much of the damage as can be. And now it's just Drelitzia and Agia going in the backline. They want to try and find this out, but the spawns are definitely in Flashpoint's favor here.
Yeah, this is tough. Keep fighting this with 4 and also losing Ski Jesus. And Daddy had actually used the Dragon Blade at that last fight, so gotta be worried about this ultimate usage here from 0-2. They are falling and they need a clean reset.
Both teams using everything in that fight. All the ultimates that were on the board are now off of it. So we are back into, alt generation territory here. Dosarino on the Genji, trying to farm up to that next Dragon Blade.
The disappearance of the Sombra from the defense too. I thought they would run it a little bit more, at least waiting till an EMP. We didn't even get to see that. Going to the double support though might be better here for Flashpoint. As 0-2 now trying to go again towards the right side this time, and it's Heavy getting pretty low on the HP, and it's Ski Jesus following along, but has been caught out of position, and this is where Dosarino will punish you for it.
Yeah, Daddy, the last one on point, going to go down, and he stands around. Strelitzia also going to fall very swiftly, and a reset now. Last fight. I mean, both teams trying to just, at this point, Ultimate Economy has been much more aggressively in Flashpoint's favor as they're building it much more quickly. But so they're loaded for bear coming to this next fight, though not far off on 0-2's side on that regard. So coming to this next fight,
yeah,
dive commences.
2 Dragon Blades, Dosarino here to start it out, and not even using the sound barrier with it, which is interesting. We'll probably want to use that at the end. There you go. There's the sound barrier. We'll give Flashpoint that advantage, and they really desperately need it after losing Sage in the middle of that fight. So Flashpoint have stabilized in 0-2, losing fights again and again from 6 or 7 minutes down to 4.
Well done to the DPS, I guess, of 0-2. They do manage to pull out that sound barrier, which is going to be huge as Daddy comes back in. They don't have any support ultimates to really nullify that damage. And so this could be the opportunity that 0-2 is looking for.
Yeah, they need to enable Dad here, and maybe Cheesex could get a sound barrier, but they'll need to just stay alive as long as they can. The Valkyrie will keep them up for now. Dad leads the way here with the Dragon Blade, goes into the back, trying to find Sage, now caught between a bunch of players, still trying to run after Sage, and has finally secured that kill, as meanwhile, sound barrier actually it was from the offense this time, and now 0-2 have the number advantage. That was a huge blade from Dad to not only clear the space, but mix up the positioning from Flashpoint, who are now trying to return to the point one last time.
Yeah, Daddy will pick up the Genji kill there for himself, so it's going to be a turnaround. Adia trying to find some value. Sound barrier here is now to just keep this fight going. They commit, and it's going to be a couple of kills coming in for the offense. They pick up another one. Strelitzia with the final blow on Adia. And goodbye to that point. It will be a full capture here. Heavy will pick up the pilot mech, or the pilot kill rather. And Dosarino not quite able to farm that Dragon Blade in time. So it's going to be a 2-point capture with pretty respectable time here from 0-2.
244, yeah, that's not bad at all. It could have been bigger considering they won point A in the first fight. It took them quite a few fights to get. I was surprised they looked like they were going to get full held there, but Flashpoint could easily turn that into a snowball situation on their offense and create quite a significant time bank. And this is definitely the map you will see that 6 or 7 minute time bank at the end, because point B very easy to snowball. But I've been very impressed from the dive coming out of Flashpoint. It's Dosarino on this Genji. It's not his usual pick from the series we've seen, but he's been matching up pretty well against Dad.
Yeah, the Pharah, the Doomfist, and now the Genji. So it has been a very an eclectic choice here tonight. Mostly projectile, but definitely some. I mean, Doomfist. I guess he's a projectile. He launches himself at you.
He's a human projectile, exactly.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's close enough. But they are going to be running that Pharah Mercy here. That combination. Again, there's been a lot of Tracer on the board tonight, and interestingly, nothing to really focus her down. So that's kind of been an interesting. And even when they have run, you know, sort of the compositions, the Brigitte or the Junkrat or whatever the case may be, they've been able to play around sort of that damage. So, a large ability here from a 0-2 to avoid it. But playing up in the hotel room. Hotel room? I don't know. Maybe this is someone's house, actually.
It's like a very fancy apartment.
Yeah.
Zoom in on that painting. Oh, is this like lore? See, you see it. There you go, producer. No, wrong one. The other one. Oh no, that one. Yes. That's a nice painting.
That's the lady from oh god.
The thing.
The Zarya story. Lore piece.
See,
and the somber one too, actually.
Well, Flashpoint are going to be very confused because 404 error, the other team is missing. So coming from behind, 0-2 are doing exactly what Flashpoint did and actually failed last time. But Dad starts off with a kill onto one of the supports. This is looking good here for 0-2. They even secure a kill onto the Diva, losing again Ski. Jesus, reoccurring problem for 0-2.
This might be enough, though, to just turn it around as just the Mercy, and Scope has been caught out here. And with that, it is going to be very much a fight win here for 0-2. As only Mac coming out of that at the end, and just the Lucio trying to escape here will get away, but definitely the cost of the team fight.
That sure was an interesting defensive route to take coming from behind, and Flashpoint, they won't get tricked again. Dos Sereno will be leading the way with the fair rockets, not only with the rockets, but can now tell the positioning of 0-2, now the top left side. So the offense might want to go towards the left side, come up from behind, or just dive them directly. This Flashpoint will initiate their fight.
Looking to try and find the dive position here, but hasn't really seen an entry now as Mac trying to take the high ground away. And both these teams just skirmishing out as the Pulse Bomb and Primal Rage are committed.
It's a tough one. Dos Sereno find cheese decks, but now you've got Dad with the Dragon Blade cutting up the tanks. Interesting choice, but that actually goes after the Pharmacy. Still, the tanks are so low health that this will be a lost fight here for Flashpoint, but they've collected quite a few ultimates with that.
Daddy will go down to Adia, but he managed to get the Valkyrie Mercy on his way out. So the Dragon Blade, so very powerful there, and Sola knocked off the map, or chooses to walk off the map, I suppose. And that's going to be a reset now. So 3 minutes taken off the clock here, or 2 minutes taken off the clock here for Flashpoint. And 0-2 in a decent position so far.
Yeah, significant time difference already. And I mean, last time we saw the point A was taken in the first fight. And now even going into point B, they'll be behind, I imagine, with the way that they're playing. Moving now towards the point, the sound barrier will start things off. Did he even get it off? I don't even think he got the sound barrier off, but the sound barrier will now be successful for Sage. As Dos Sereno goes down, he had the barrage, but they could be going towards a tick here, heavy. We'll just try and contest it one last time, but he's low. He's about to go down, and there'll be quite a reset here for 0-2. And they need to reset, because if they don't, then they'll get snowballed.
I mean, the staggers here, they are going to die. Redbird going to go down here. They are going to reset. Unfortunately, it is going to be Cheese Dex not able to get the sound barrier off in time, and his team just goes down. Strelitzia with a final blow on Scope is going to nullify the early push. So that's an early and important pickoff there from the Tracer player for 0-2.
And I mean, if you watch the anime, you know Strelitzia just plays crazy, but is such a valuable member of the team. And that's exactly what this Tracer has been doing for the squad. But this defense is playing like point A is still around, going all the way towards the spawn and getting the kills with it.
I mean, why not, right? You've got a couple of, you got the advantage, and you have ultimates. Why not force the issue? Redbird, though, forced to use that self-destruct, not able to get any value from it. They're going to go down. So this is going to be a wholesale retreat here from 0-2.
Yeah, after losing your diva, you gotta, and I mean, Mac isn't messing around, but Dad comes in from the sky with the Dragon Blade. He's low, but the Valkyrie will keep him up for now. Trying to go after Azir, who recalls out of that situation, and not as much value as you think coming out of that blade.
watching Daddy's health pool in that entire fight was hilarious as he goes up and down, and this fight has been over for a while as Heavy has to use the Primal Rage. They are going to take the reset now as Mac goes down, so this fight is now over, so it's all but the retreat sounded for Flashpoint in this engagement.
It was a good start though, because Mac went after they got that one kill onto one of the players from 0-2. They just went right in, but it was Dad's Dragon Blade that kind of stifled them. They just were trying to run away instead of engage. But Flashpoint will look for another opportunity with now their tank ultimates, and Dad has another blade. He just used it.
Dive commences yet again. They are going to commit the Dragon Blade as well. Scope goes down, and Daddy's going to pick up another blow yet again.
This is a struggle here for 0-2. I feel like Joss Torino hasn't been earning his blade as quickly as Dad's has. And even Strelitzia has these pulse bombs every fight. And it's just Flashpoint struggling all around with the amount of pressure that 0-2 are putting in.
Yeah, and reset here is Daddy goes down early, and they're going to try and get back to point. But a couple of kills, Mac with 2 final blows. And they're going to reset here on this point. That's a little too aggressive there.
Oh, Mac with a triple kill. This is exactly what Flashpoint needed with 2:44 left. This will get them in a pretty equal time bank, but 0-2 might want to engage one last time just to stall this time bank a little bit more in their favor. They have the Valkyrie, who is quickly ended, a Sound Bearer from Cheese Decks. It did land, I think, on a few members, but now all the ultimates are pouring in for Flashpoint, including the Dragon Blade, the Valkyrie, the Sound Bearer, everything Flashpoint are throwing to get this point, and only 22 seconds behind the time bank from 0-2.
Some very aggressive gameplay from 0-2 turns into disaster as they lose 2 of their players, and just that allows Flashpoint to walk in and take the fight. 0-2 in a awkward positioning there.
Well, they're trying to decide if they want to keep playing.
Looks like they would like to play through it.
Okay. So, some real Overwatch. Real rules. We go again.
222 to 244. So, in my mind, Flashpoint a little bit more symmetrical in that timing.
Well, it was still both teams seem messy on their point B approaches. And 0-2 have been so quick at building their ultimates, and it was really down to Mac getting that triple kill from Flashpoint that really got the ball rolling for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're caught out that aggressively, right? The Daddy on the Genji, I believe it was Redbird on the Pilot, the Mechless D.Va. It's so awkward to come back in this next fight with any sort of cohesiveness. And on top of that, Flashpoint had ultimates to work with, so it's just a case of 0-2 not counting properly, as they look like they're trying to go all the way outside our Flashpoint.
Well, I mean, there was a sneaky approach from 0-2, but usually you see a Reinhardt do that to actually secure a kill. Now they're coming towards the coast side. They've pushed on to the point. 2 minutes left. There's really only 2 fights you can squeeze out of this. Not really a lot of time to experiment, but they started off with a kill onto the main tank, but they've lost their Mercy in the process, so this isn't the cleanest fight from the offense.
CG just trying so hard to stay alive, does go down. Support's now in a disastrous position as Daddy picks up yet another kill on the mech, and this could go back in 0-2's favor. Another final blow. Mac going down. It is going to be Ajit trying to pull this back forward, but it is him versus the world at this point. He gets the D-mech, but not much more than that, and it is going to be Scope on Moira trying to escape. 30 HP, and
oh god,
that is by the narrowest of margins. Strelitzia chasing it all the way through.
Well, I like the pick of the Moira, though. Scope usually plays the Brigitte, and with this dive, it wouldn't really fit well. Moira can't access that high ground as well as everybody else can, but it is certainly a lot more healing. Would have liked to maybe keep that Mercy there from Sage, but they want that aggression to speed boost in. Now, it depends what route they want to take. Coast side didn't work so well. They're going to go right through mid. Mac is going to lead the way. Sola has a self-destruct, but Dad comes in through the backline with a Dragon Blade.
Oh, and Dad with a huge Dragon Blade. That's a triple kill, and that all but spells disaster here. They do pick up Dad, but it might not be enough. As Mac goes down, the Resurrect will be in time. And it'll be a reset there. As A little bit of sauce coming in match chat from Daddy on that Genji.
We love sauce chats, but one last fight for Flashpoint before they get full held from 0-2, who are currently leading the series 2-1. This is their chance to prove themselves. Moving on to the point, no one will be there to contest them. 0-2 are playing bridge, now approaching the point. Don't want to give up that free tick. 10 seconds left. This is coming down to the wire, and Ski Jesus going down is going to spell disaster for 0-2, but they use the sound barrier to keep the rest of their members up, but it won't keep Heavy up, who had the Primal Rage just 3% away, exactly what 0-2 needed. But Redbird's self-destruct does make up for it, but not when the numbers don't match up. Flashpoint should be able to get point A. Strelitzia will just be there to contest the little time that, I mean, we're already in overtime, but point B will be next on the hit list for Flashpoint.
That actually does a decent amount. That stall by Strelitzia, able to get them back in a setup here for the defense. They are going to be able to set up in an ideal position now. And while they don't necessarily have too much to work with, the offense also is a little bit barren here, as the Dragon Blade really and the Coalescence really all they have to work with coming to this next point.
But 0-2 have a lot of good stall to help the Primal Rage. God, Ski Jesus, what's going on, man? He keeps getting picked in all these fights. But a free take has already been earned for Flashpoint because 0-2 are playing at the front door, now needing to disengage back onto the point. They have secured a kill onto one of the supports. Actually, both supports out for Flashpoint. This is the final fight. Dosarino, with one last hurrah, has found so many kills, but only has his tanks with them. Mac could buy enough time for reinforcements, but his Primal Rage is about to dwindle away, as now Sola, actually just the tanks of Flashpoint remain, as now a self-destruct could buy more time here for Flashpoint, but 2 ticks already earned. 0-2 need to quickly get back to this point.
Yeah, Redbird not able to quite get the self-destruct off in time. The self-destruct from Sola taking it away. Overtime now, in effect, 2/3. Sola picks up yet another final blow, and Daddy trying to bring this right back around, dashing through the team, as it is going to be yet another kill here. The D-Mech comes through, so Sola will be unable to really do anything.
No.
A pause.
Why though?
And man, is JoJo's music ever needed right here.
This is a tough, even overtime is dwindling away. I mean, Mac needs to quickly jump back. Either Sage or Mac need to get back on there, and they're trying to go back and deal for Sola, who's in baby diva form. Getting him or her back into mech, so important for Flashpoint. As important it is to keep that overtime going. But desperation here.
Yeah. Ooh, the pause comes through. Overtime, so close to ticking out. They do call you back in time, but Redbird's self-destruct will actually find value here.
Well, the remake goes in for Sola, but they lost their main tank, so this can keep on going. Dosarino in the Doomfist smacks the heck out of Redbird, but Heavy is back. He won't have the Primal Rage, so Flashpoint can close it out here. One last contest maybe from Strelitzia just to buy enough time, but that is it. 2 points earned for Flashpoint in overtime. Now, can 0-2 match that is the question.
It was a very aggressive defense, and it worked out for a while from 0-2, but, I mean, war of attrition went in Flashpoint's favor there on the second point, on B point, and now we go to the defensive side for Flashpoint. They want to walk away with a victory here. As 0-2, they bang their head against the wall in their offense, and will be a little bit of a cleaner showing here for them as they go through round 2.
And that blade from Dosarino at the later parts of that fight, remember, it was only him and 2 tanks versus, 6 players of 0-2, and they have respawn advantage. So Dosarino got a triple kill, and this really got the snowball going for Flashpoint, and they had used their stall ultimate so well. You had Mag and Primal Rage. Sola used the self-destruct. They were able to protect Sola long enough to get him back into mech. And Flashpoint in desperation situations played that pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Doomfist, he has so much burst potential, and he really just, I mean, he Dosarino on the Doomfist pulled out, what was it, a 3K, essentially? The D-Mac, the kill on the Genji onto Daddy of the, who's been pretty stellar in terms of the Dragon Blade performance, and I believe also Strelitzia on the Tracer, so just hugely important in terms of the value able to be brought in with that rocket punch.
2 minutes 44 for 0-2 to get all the way to point B. And they're going to be leaving the doors with their usual dive. But what they're meeting is it's here on this Brigitte. And I believe it's usually Scope who brings that out. But we haven't seen a Zenyatta in a while. But 0-2 start their engagement. And actually, Flashpoint haven't gotten onto that low ground yet. Dad's actually in the back getting some free dash hits, but hasn't finished off any kills.
Scope has been extremely hardcore peeled for as all three walk in to keep him up. And Skeet Jesus not going to get the same treatment as it's going. They're trying to build progress on the point, though. Strelitzia trying to find some more value. Couple of kills as Mac getting the final blows. The Winston doing so much, but it is not going to be enough. Self-destruct committed, and they're going to try and keep this fight going. Redbird just getting back in Mac. Yeah.
I was sick. Yeah, Strelitzia has just been always putting objective pressure. And I was a little bit worried about that Redbird self-destruct considering they're only 2v6, but somehow Flashpoint couldn't keep up the reinforcements. They really prioritize in keeping point B. This will win them the map, but only 2 minutes left for 0-2. Squeezing in 2 fights would be the best case scenario.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot to work with either. They committed the Pulse Bomb in that first fight. Dozerino has his Pulse Bomb, and as he was so very close to that rally, that could be the win condition here. The armor being so valuable. Sage goes down early, and they only have the rally trying to keep the Zenyatta up. The Primal Rage in the backline. They want to try and fight the value on point here, however, as the tanks just continue to stall it out.
Yeah, 0-2 need to put pressure onto the point, get these tanks off, and now there's a Transcendence from the defense. This is going to spell some huge disaster for 0-2, especially now that they're missing a Mercy. Their resources are certainly outweighing Flashpoint, so the quick reset comes in for 0-2.
The thing for Flashpoint, though, is that the important character got the armor. Scope, you can see the orange in that health bar, and that Zenyatta is going to be so much harder to kill, of course. So, Adia, able to get value out of that rally into that next fight. And they do have Primal Rage and Pulse Bomb still coming up close to that Valkyrie as well.
They want to enable Dad, who actually gets so low, but they've taken out the enemy Mercy. Dad is all healed up. They got the sound. He didn't unfortunately get any of that sound barrier, but he's waiting for an opportunity to use that blade, and there it is, goes right after the Brigitte. Now the Zenyatta at the back, who's tougher to kill, as you say, a very meaty monk at the back. But 0-2 have put now pressure on the point. They've pushed back Flashpoint. They got the D-Neck onto Sola, but now they need to convert this into objective time. But it is Mac with the Primal Rage that won't let that happen. Dosarino comes back with the Doom Fist, and this has allowed the Resurrect to go through for Sage. And although 0-2 started off so hot with their ultimates, they've dwindled away to 30 seconds without a single tick.
Excellent stall there. It's really, really unfortunate for Flash, or for 0-2 rather. They commit a lot of ultimates to that fight. The only thing they have left now is Redbird's self-destruct and coming up close to the tank. The Primal Rage from Heavy. But other than that, it has been a case of lost ultimates for 0-2 coming into this next and last fight. Again, this is going to be just to try and complete the map here. Overtime is now in effect.
Well, 0-2 at least have way more stall, a self-destruct and a Primal Rage, but they need to shut down Dosarino, who's got so much armor from just screwing up these tanks. But a Transcendence now comes out from Scope. You got a Valkyrie in the sky, so much resources here for Flashpoint, but Scope goes down. But along with the supports of 0-2, who now have to manage to just burn time for these supports to come back into this fight, but Heavy is out. Everybody is gone for 0-2, and this is the end. Flashpoint are about to even up the series 2-2.
Strelitzia, the last one on point there, and unfortunately, there were too many tanks to really contest. Excellent play there from Flashpoint to bring it around on that, or bring it around on that last fight, giving up no progress whatsoever. And we had to see Mac here, the Winston, coming in with some excellent tickling away of the hero goal.
Oh yeah, this was the auto double kill, and he also finishes off this Winston at the very end. This just opened up the doors for Flashpoint to come in like a storm. And we had mentioned, oh, well, 0-2 are very pushed up. They're very ambitious with their kills, to say that very nicely. And they had gotten the kills, but as soon as they lost, I think one of their members, that's when Mac just put the go button, ran right after them.
Yeah, I mean, 0-2 a little aggressive at times, a little over-aggressive, I think, at times. They definitely have promise, though. Like, I mean, 0-2 have had flashes of absolute brilliance, and Flashpoint, I think their recontest potential has been very, very good here tonight. So, Lijiang Tower now, another control map, something that we haven't seen a whole lot of today. I think we saw Ilios, and that's been about it.
Yeah.
So we will go back to that particular favorite of mine. I like watching Control. It's so mobile, right? So many early fights the teams take, and we will be starting off on the tank favorite, I think, Control Center. At least it historically has been very common here.
Yes, this is where the death ball, I feel like, was born. Not in a hospital, but here on Control Center. And you're exactly right. I love Control because anything can happen. Like Shanghai Dragons can win on Control, then anybody can, really.
I mean, that's a painful thought in and of itself as we hold Shanghai Dragons in our thoughts. The worst pro sports team ever.
I mean, that's official, right? Like no other sports.
0-40 is a really tough number to beat.
Well, they almost beat Mayhem, right? That went to Game 5 or something, right?
However, almost does not count in winning.
You're one of those people. Second place is first loser or something, right?
I won't go that far, but it was certainly not a good season for the Shanghai Dragons, and I think most teams will hope not to emulate them, as they would like to win here. So, Control Center it is. It is Flashpoint and 0-2. And away we go. So tank compositions galore. Hanzo on one, Junkrat kind of finding out the other. Redbird on the Brigitte. So Mac walking in. They want to find some value early on. And it's a very aggressive posturing from 0-2.
Well, bit of an advantage also for 0-2 who are running the Brigitte. This will give Max some extra trouble, and they have to be careful. Zero really wants to punish that Brigitte once that shield goes down, but it's actually Heavy who gets punished instead. Redbird now too far pushed up, but 0-2 could be still engaging here in a 5 versus 6. This is still a winnable scenario. They just have to keep up their resources, but everybody is so low health. Ski Jesus can't keep up, and 0-2 will have to reset.
And that is so unfortunate for 0-2 with the Hanzo. Adia is able to just burn down Heavy's shield. And there is no real shield break as on the side of 0-2, so they are just going to lose. Mac able to win that shield battle, and of course, with the Junkrat, the Zarya is just going to be charged up, so even more shield break for Flashpoint's side, and so close to Graviton already from Sola.
Well, this tire, the suicycle coming in from the left side. Actually, 2 tires. We got so many wheels on the map. But Dad starts off the first. Oh my God! But Dosarino kills the play of the game. I was about to salute Dad, but the triple kill coming in from Dosarino. He's always the guy to watch on Flashpoint. So this will allow them to go back to the choke, and now with a Graviton to work with.
Which is better, 1 or 3? And I think in this case, 3 is very obviously the superior number. And the Graviton Surge, you have to choke. They're going to walk right back into this.
Well, a quick pin. Mac gets booped away. Doesn't get anything, but there's a Dragon Strike. Who needs a pin when you got a big fiery dragon coming at you? Another reset for 0-2, almost 60% for Flashpoint, who now have a Transcendence and an Earth Shatter. So this is still great scenario for Flashpoint in the upcoming fight.
Yeah. Well played from Cheesedex, though, to not use the Transcendence in that Graviton Surge. As we all know, Mercy amping the Dragon Strike will cut through. Earth Shatter out right now, but it's blocked mostly.
Strelitzia, though, gets really low, and this guy has been really far behind on the Graviton building, and all the tanks are low from 0-2. They do not want to engage with half health pools, especially when you got Azir popping off on this Hanzo, and Flashpoint have pushed them back to the choke point again. And LaFon, I'm totally serious as this could be 100-0 again.
Yeah, I mean, you're close to that Riptire to zone them out again, so there isn't really a whole lot for them to be able to walk in on. Yeah, you have 5 ultimates, 6 ultimates nearly, but it may not be enough. Transcendence committed. They need to get to point right now.
Ooh.
And close to it. They do get there in the last second, but there just is no follow-up in this Graviton Surge whatsoever.
Dosarino killing the tire game, man. He's getting multi-kills every single time. Always brings out his tire when Dad has his out as well, which you'd think you'd want to wait. But one last engage from 0-2, who they've actually seen the inside of Control Center for once. But it will end here, 100-0 for Flashpoint on this first map.
And that's a bit of a comp stubbornness, I think, from 0-2. They walk in over and over, and they just aren't able to burn down shield quick enough, and that's just ultimate rotations to win the fight. And then on top of that, Flashpoint, like, they only have to use 1 ult at a time, basically, to win fights in that scenario. So a bit of a compositional switch up as Dosarino will switch off the Hanzo, or sorry, Dio will switch off the Hanzo to the Tracer, and Dosarino will switch off the Junkrat to, it looks like the Genji. So dive composition coming in here from looks like Flashpoint, and it's going to be tanks continued, though with a Pharah instead of the Junkrat from a 0-2 here.
And maybe 0-2 are struggling because they run so much dives, and maybe Deathball is not in their most practiced form. And you could tell that really struggled, even using the Brigitte, which you would think would give them such an advantage. But now going with the Reinhardt, Zarya, Diva, not the most common comp, but they will engage the point. And it's Flashpoint who had the better positioning. They even have Dosarino with the fair up into the air, and the double boot from Sage. That'll start things off.
Check it out, I'm on fire. Indeed, that will be a quick win. And Daddy trying to escape, he will get there. It's a bit of a last-ditch effort, and says goodbye. But other than that, it has been a really clean fight. When you get 2 off the map just like that, and just the sheer amount of spam that Dusarino is able to put in for Mac to clean up is huge there. So Sage with a fight-winning ability, and a bit of a reset now for 0-2.
Well, 0-2 are definitely shook. Like, they felt so much stronger on control maps, and Dad getting a little bit too ambitious, gets hit with the rockets from Dosarino, and the kill's already falling through, missing Ski Jesus again. And 0-2 won't be able to make much, missing not only their biggest DPS, but their biggest healer. But at least they got the pulse bomb out of its ears, so that's a positive.
Yeah, it's one ultimate. They are going to have their support ultimates online, so there isn't really a whole lot to speak of there. I would like. Oh dear, is this?
You gotta ice the other team. Yes.
The regularly scheduled. Sola's nose is dying. Hey, at least it's not Dosarino now. No, that's a.
Who pauses the game to blow their nose? I'd be like snorting that stuff. I'm like, I gotta win, man. I gotta make the comeback. But all right, well, we'll say he's blowing his nose, whatever he's doing. At least it's not Dosarino disconnecting for the 50th time.
I mean, in fairness to Dosarino, it was only 6.
Only for 6 hours.
Only for 6. Yeah, exactly. Though I think here on 0-2's side, they need to take a look at what they're running, and just kind of isolate what their problems actually are, because they keep seeming to do the same thing over and over, and they're just not finding any value from it.
Well, I think they started off with the death ball at the start, and now they've quickly swapped to the dive. Their signature stuff, but they don't have an answer to Dosarino in terms of comp. And when you got Ski Jesus getting picked off every fight, it's a lot of your resources that you're missing out on.
Yeah, I mean, Primal Rage is going to be committed there. They're going to knock off 3 off the map.
Play the game.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've had a couple of opportunities to see possible plays of the game, so we will see if that is in fact going to be the case.
Mac's gonna get 2. You never see the Winston get any love, but it's like 3, his second triple kill with a primal. I love it.
Barrage over the top. They're gonna find the final blow on the Wunky. Not quite. The Matrix is there in time, and so that barrage finds no value whatsoever. However, Redbird is caught out by himself and demeched.
Well, this allowed 0-2 to get into a good position onto the point. Now they just have to prevent the Sparrow from getting in. They use the sound barrier, but Heavy is next on the kill list. He goes down, but at least their Mercy is still alive, and that's a positive to say about 0-2. But won't be able to get that resurrect because Ski Jesus dies again. A huge target of focus from Flashpoint, as Flashpoint have lost their Diva, and they have a Primal Rage though, so in terms of the stall fight, Flashpoint should be able to take this.
Self-destruct, not going to find anything, as they're just going to keep zoning out Solo, though. The call down is actually going to find the kill, and overtime now this is going to be the kills need to start coming in for 0-2 here, but it is not happening as Adia picks up yet another one, and it is now the stall out. Not a whole lot of value coming through. The DMAC on Redbird is all but imminent, and with that, overtime going to tick away, and objective 2 goes to Flashpoint as well.
Well, that secures the game 5 for Flashpoint. Technically, but we'll go into a third map just because it's scrims. I guess we were playing real Overwatch rules, but back on Ilios, it was 0-2 that won 2-1, and now Flashpoint have turned things around with a 2-0 on the second control map.
I mean, 0-2 coming into Lijiang are now 0-2. So they do have to,
I get it. Sorry,
they have to eke out a victory on this stage here. Or their hopes of a flawless appearance, or I guess their appearance of taking a point on every map will be in jeopardy. That's just a statistic I made up just now, but
yeah,
hey, it's a prize worth fighting for. So now Fire Mercy, dive composition from 0-2. On this other side, it's the same thing. So mirror compositions here from our teams.
And it's Dad bringing out the Fire Mercy, which is not something 0-2 have experimented with at all. He usually plays Genji and he eats that double rocket like for breakfast, and 0-2 about to get shut out of this first point cap again.
Yeah, there's going to be a clean fight loss as Heavy is going to probably get out with his life. They're playing very aggressively. Oh, and that's very unfortunate. They're going to stagger it out, and that first cap is going to definitely go in Flashpoint's favor. I think 0-2 there was trying to keep their main tank alive, to try and get a fight in, just to get an early recontest, but it is going to be Flashpoint taking first control here.
Going against a Pharaoh like Dosturino is a scary situation, and Dad has decided to take on that task, but he got double rocketed this time. I hope he puts up a better fight, but he gets low, and it's Ski Jesus completely missing the heals on him that cost that first death, and obviously not in a position to go for that resurrect because Flashpoint are pressuring him so well. Oh, yeah.
They are going to commit the self-destruct, but it is not going to be enough. Sola falling off the map. Oof. I guess,
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a bit of a messy fight there.
Well, I just want to, if Dad, I mean, he's a hit scan, or, you know, plays a good Genji. Maybe he needs to play some hit scan like a Widow or something, since Flashpoint are playing so far forward. And it goes back to the Genji, his signature hero. As you could see, Ski Jesus eats a pulse bomb. Man, that guy's having a tough time as Mercy.
Yeah, and the Valkyrie was committed as well, so ultimate's going to be used and no value found whatsoever. And on the defensive side, only the pulse bomb for the Valkyrie. Now that's a trade that you make every day of the week if you're a Dia, and twice on any other day as well.
0-2, man, they're nowhere to be found. Like, Darling, I don't feel so good. Like, times 100 here. I was waiting to make that joke, man. You got to let me happen once.
Absolutely. The Primal Rage, the Barrage, and I'm so sorry, supports, but that will not end with your happiness there. 80% and counting. Primal Rage committed for the team in red 0-2. They need to try and win this fight right here. They're committing a lot to it. Self-destruct, not going to find any kill, and he goes down as well. So this is likely it for the 0-2 as they have to reset. Otherwise, I don't even think they can contest here.
Ski Jesus was trying to get in there as the Mercy just to trigger overtime, but not even Charlitzia could get in that scenario, and that's 100-0 points for Flashpoint on Li Zhang, and definitely 0-2, one of 0-2's weaker maps. I saw a lot more potential out of them on Ilios.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a quick play of the game here, and this is one of the highest skill combinations you could ever do. The Hanzo just presses Q into the Zarya's Q, and the two teams congratulate each other and thank each other. Yeah.
Well, fun fact that I just noted down, every single control point in the series has ended 100-0, and we've been to 6 maps.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a single retake. It's like 100% chance that if you take the point, you win the map, which is pretty awkward to say.
It was a very it was definitely a show match in that regard. It was a very good, definitely some very high impact, high octane gameplay for both these teams. And I mean, Flashpoint, Dosturino, I would recommend getting internet that doesn't cut out 80% of the time, just for your own peace of mind. And 0-2, I mean, these are both brand new teams. Not to put too fine a point on it, but I think in Flashpoint's case, if I'm remembering correctly, literally formed like today, or they're still building their roster or something like that. Yeah, so Flashpoint, this is their first full scrim as a roster. 0-2 is still building their roster. I mean, so both these teams, they're definitely new in terms of in terms of how they're playing. So coordination is still not quite cemented. Their strategies perhaps not quite where they want it to be quite yet. But from what we saw, they're definitely two good teams that have potential to grow for sure.
Oh, for sure. And I really like 0-2's dive, but I'd like to see them experiment around some other flexible comps. They haven't really been using much Brigitte, and their Death Ball is certainly on the weaker side from what we saw on Control Center, and immediately swapping away once, I think it was on Night Market. That didn't last long either, but very talented players from both these teams. And yeah, Flashpoint for their first scrim, this was really incredible to watch.
Absolutely. And I think it will be, I mean, just you know, I'm excited to see how, not only as a caster casting new teams, but just watching new talent form has been definitely an enjoyment for myself here. So Lemon, that was a fun cast, I think.
I think that was fun. Game 5 for like like both these teams' first scrim or very new teams is usually you see this for Overwatch and it gets pretty boring. But I think the closest match was on Blizzard World. I'm looking forward to seeing these teams again and what they'll bring out once they've got more experience and synergy as a team. But I think it's time to sign off, LaFon.
Indeed, indeed. And it has been an absolute pleasure here. So thank you so much.
And also shout out to our producer, Vflight. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Or Vlight? Vflight? Oh, the first one. Okay. Vflight. Well, for producing us and keeping you guys up to date with all the action. As I'm LemonKiwi, and that was LaFon. That was Vflight, and this was Broadcast.gg. It's Scrim Nights. We'll see you guys next time.